one of the questions that I actually have for you, Doug, and it's a question I usually get from students as well, is with the development of machine translation, especially with the latest increase in quality coming from neural machine translation systems, you know, what's the point in studying translation or even languages? On the language side, I could add everybody speaks English anyway. How do you deal with questions and maybe even statements like these?
So I'm a technologist. I come from a computing background, and therefore, of course, I quite like technology when it's applied. From a simple point of view, sometimes, if I take it from a sales point of view, if I've got a client that wants machine translation, do I understand as a provider what that means? If my reaction is, that's horrible, go away, it's rubbish technology, it doesn't work, it's terrible, then that client is not going to talk to me. So I'm going to lose the thought share. If I'm worried about it reducing what I do as an individual, that's not necessarily true, because yes, machine translation can do bulk translation. Yes, you can use interpreters built into your phone to help people, but you're still going to need situations where there would be privileged information that you do not want to go out onto machine translation. There will still be instances where a company needs something that doesn't quite work with machine translation. So we have this phrase in British English about, are you a cooper or a barrel maker? So a cooper, if you ever see Vats old wooden barrels, they're beautiful. They've got wood, they've got this metal around them, and they became a thing of beauty, and people were specialists. They were called coopers, hence the surname in English sometimes of a cooper. But what happened is, as that technology was replaced by steel or plastics, did the people adjust to delivering steel or plastic, or did they just go, I only make these wooden ones. If you don't want the wooden ones, I can't help you. And surprisingly, there are coopers. There are people who still make wooden barrels, but there are a lot more barrel makers, So you either choose to have it done to you, or you choose to be part of it. As I said, I don't think linguists purely translate. They do a lot more other things. And in fact, if you look at translation companies, I often talk to them about, do they think they're providing translation, or are they handling complexity on behalf of a client? And if we're handling complexity, it might be that you understand how it is that certain things are done. So for example, does machine translation understand? I have a Chinese website that a friend of mine, actually an ex-Aston student, worked with me to create. And at one point she called me and said, oh, Doug, we forgot. We used your name in red, which is something that she said to me she'd forgotten, means that you're dead, more or less. So machine translation wouldn't pick that up. So I don't think machine translation is a bad thing. I do think that you need to understand what the benefits and disadvantages are, and you need to be able to have that conversation with your customer and to help them implement it correctly. Sometimes people's expectations are way, way above their budget. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan, but I am a fan of it. I definitely think post-editing machine translation, when I said I worked with the ISO committee, we now have standards where you can apply post-editing machine translation. So it's not a panacea, it's definitely getting better, and it definitely helps international trade. And if you're helping people trade, or if you're in medical and you're helping people repair and help other people, there are definitely opportunities still, and they increase because of machine translation, in my opinion, rather than reduce.